wherever you're in. And the other thing, just I'm sure most of these are used to the Microsoft Teams, but if you could any questions at any stage, if you're unsure of anything, please just maybe raise your hand or put a question in the chat box. I'll be keeping an eye in the chat box all the way through and stop at any stage. The other thing is just this, we'll be sending out the content of this as soon as we're finished, and this program, I suppose, is running in line with the National Be Ready to Play program, and we just wanted to put maybe a few different things on it for the Kildare coaches. So you're all very welcome. Hopefully you get something out of it. And tonight Paul Divley is going to present most of the presentation, and will be supported by John Dorn, Mick Gillick and I. So as I say, any questions or any observations, please feel free to stop us at any time. And other than that, Paul, it's over to you.
Thanks, Johnny. Good evening, everyone. You're all permitted to have the Ireland soccer match on in the background. Don't worry about it. You'll get the gist of it here. So we'll try keep it definitely under the hour. And going forward, we're going to try make this kind of a regular occurrence throughout the season. We're going to keep it fairly short and tight, so we're trying to give you the content as quick as we can, and off you go again. We are very aware that everyone has been through a fierce amount of webinars over the last year, and we all want to get back on the pitch and stuff like that. So when we do get back on the pitch, and we're still trying to provide you with content, we'll be very aware that we won't be trying to pull you back onto long discussions on webinars or anything like that. So this evening is going to be a lot of it. It's going to be primarily a signpost kind of job about where to get the info, what's coming up over the coming weeks with the webinar and over the season and stuff like that. And we'll also give you the first phase of the program and direct you towards that as well. So it'll be quite just information based, quite descriptive on that front. At any point throughout it, if you have any questions, just throw them in the question box. Johnny and John are going to be manning the chat box, so they'll just stop me then mid presentation and ask any questions we have. Or if you fancy it, you can stick the hand up. Use the put your hand up icon on the screen, and you can come in and ask the question if you're comfortable to do so either. So you don't have to wait till the end to ask any questions, and you might miss the opportunity, or it might get lost, or you might want to come back to it. So if there's anything that you don't think we've covered as we go through the slides, feel free to put the hand up or throw the question in the chat box. Okay, so as Johnny said, this is the Maximise to Be Ready to Play program. So let's hope this presentation is moving for me. Okay, so very quickly, a quick rundown on the Be Ready to Play program. So it's a national program rolled out probably 3 or 4 weeks ago now by the Sports Science Committee in nationally. Okay, so really what the aim of the program is a holistic program. So it's designed for everyone: club coaches, players, from camogie, ladies football, men's football, and hurling. It's kind of designed in a staged process. So we're planning to provide content, or this program is planning to provide content right throughout the season. So at the beginning, it's going to be very much kind of bringing us back, getting us active, coming out of lockdown. So some people wouldn't have been very active over the last few months. Others would have been tipping away doing a bit. And it's kind of trying to integrate both of them. So we're kind of target and look after all players and the coaches to give them content that they might be able to implement. And then a key thing, and why I'm kind of throwing my hat in with this program really, is that the aim is to provide content throughout the season. So when we get into the early phase of being back on the pitch, we'll be building athletic development content to work alongside your pitch sessions, and we might be even able to give you a little bit of direction on the physical side of the pitch sessions as well, all the way through to whenever we get a kind of rough idea across the country of when we're going to be playing our kind of more important games, kind of into our championships, stuff like that. We'll be trying to peak, or trying to, as much as possible with the youth player, kind of getting ready for that. So the program will follow a kind of a trend of the season as it unfolds. So this isn't just a kind of a knee-jerk reaction to keep people busy during lockdown, and then the minute we get back on the pitch, we all forget about it. Hopefully the content is going to move, and it's going to transition with us through each of the phases. And even the way they've set it up, that they're providing the programs fortnightly, allows us to do that as well. So if we get word that in 2, 3, 4 weeks time that we're getting back on the pitch into pods of 15 non-contact, the program will start responding to that as well. So just very quickly then, what we'll have just on this, and it's probably a little bit word heavy, some of the slides here, but the reason we did it that way is that we're going to just share this presentation with you afterwards, and you can have a good read through it. But I have a few links at the bottom. So we've the Be Ready to Play website, a registration instructions for the actual national program. There's a good interview by Des Ryan, the lead of the program, and then there's the webinar, the national webinar launch as well. So you'll be able to click on them and have a look through them as well as we go forward. Okay, so what is the Be Ready program? It's what we're calling a holistic program. So it's going to be a program that provides us with athletic development, a fortnightly program. So you'll get your exercises, sets, reps, what you should be doing on the pitch. And also alongside that, so that'll really be targeting the player. And alongside that, then we'll be providing coach support or coach education content for the coaches. So we'll have the sports science group will provide a monthly webinar, and then the coaching webinar series will be monthly as well. So what they're planning to do in that capacity is every month they'll be picking a different aspect from the sports science side of the house. So they might be the next one coming up is a nutrition one. The last one that was just gone on this a week ago was on return to play, injury free. And then alongside that, then we've the coaching webinar series coming up as well. So Johnny's actually presenting nationally next Tuesday, isn't it, Johnny?
Yeah, the 30th, yeah, next Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah. So what they're doing there at national level, they're going to be getting some various experts in the fields and providing different aspects of sports development, whether it's technical, physical, nutrition, psychology, whatever. So they'll all be coming up, and we'll be teeing you up for them as well as they come up and unfold. So then, in relation to the youth program, this is kind of just like who it's for and what it's catered for and what are the kind of principles of the program. Okay, so what we're looking at is it's participants should be youth teenage players between the age of 13 to 18, 19, male or female. One thing that we will be saying or encouraging is that they're injury free, so that if they've any injuries, that we get them looked after before we put them onto the program. So we just kind of make sure that the players are aware of that. It's an individual led program. Progressions and regressions throughout to cater for all competency levels. So what it means by that is the content is kind of provided, and then the player, so this is a program that the player can follow without coach support if required. Obviously, if the coach is involved, it's going to be a more supported and more thorough, better program. But a player could easily pick up this program and follow it off the back of the national website. So how it is done then is the player kind of adapts to the program, how they're performing in the exercises, and makes choices themselves. And then I suppose the focus of the program is muscular strength and skill competency, which will be underpinned by good movement ability, which all leads to the foundation of sports performance. So we just put in our slides here, we just put two symbols in. Okay, so the building the wall, and then the time, all right? And really what we just want you to understand over this program and over the coming years that there's no magic pill or there's no magic program to make the players improve drastically in a really short time. It just keeps coming back to consistent repetition and implementation of a program and doing things well consistently over time, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and it's the building on that is where the players really develop and progress. So this is going to follow a very similar suit. You'll find that from week to week, fortnight to fortnight, phase to phase, there won't be a huge change in the program or in the exercises that they do, but there'll be subtle changes, and all they have to do is the repetition and kind of be put in that structure or that kind of schedule to allow them to perform these activities and structures as often as possible. Okay, so then what's included in the program? So there's going to be a strand on stability, mobility, speed, agility, strength and power, and these three will all take place in the same kind of home workout kind of model. And then we'll have our endurance and technical skills, and they'll take place in the pitch session. So the national program has provided us with a conditioning skill session, And we've actually probably took it a bit further, and we're offering out hurling and football programs as well that we'll be sharing this evening as well. So we're going to talk through the two programs and explain how they unfold and what's involved in them. First of all, just in the staged approach, as we talked about just a few minutes ago, there's 4 phases to this program. We've the activity phase, building a strong movement foundation, okay, and as you can see, each phase we're going to be describing what's going on, but what it really is this is the return to play, coming out of lockdown phase into the early phase of being back on the pitch, and then we'll work our whole way through to championship phase. We'll just concentrate on the blue one for now. So what we're going to be looking at in this phase over the next 6 to 8 weeks will be stability and mobility, which will be challenged through our warm-ups. So we'll have different exercises that target that area. Our strength and power will be an introduction to a wide range of strength movements. So it'll be kind of the fundamental or the rudimentary exercises that lay the foundation for strength and power and for physical performance movements. They'll all be kind of grounded in here. Speed. Okay, so speed is we've kind of acknowledged now over in sports science or in this side of the house that we need to be targeting or developing speed as often as possible. It's a key performance and trait that we are always trying to develop and improve. So we're going to start that right from the get-go. Now, if we went out onto the pitch and we started trying to sprint them as quick as possible, the players, there's a risk of injury. So what we're going to be doing is just implementing it over the first 4 weeks through the speed mechanics and gradual speed exposure. So to be running at like 50, 60, 70%. And then on to week 5, 6, then we'll be getting into our pitch-based speed sessions. And then the last one, which is probably the one that we're so happy to see, is that we're going to be developing our endurance or our conditioning element primarily through the skills of the game. So we'll be setting up different activities and drills, pitch-based sessions, where we won't be doing isolated running. We'll be prescribing exercises or games or activities that will have a strong emphasis on running in them, always have the ball involved, which is great to see. As we go through each phase and as the webinars go on from phase to phase, when we're moving on to developmental phase and prepare to play phase and prepare to perform phase, again, we'll talk about each of these individually and talk about what's coming up over the next phase. Okay, so the activity phase, what's involved? All right, so the aim is probably develop good quality movements in all units. At the moment, the units were just what we talked about there, and the duration will be 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to be published fortnightly. So there's been 2 rounds of it published so far. We're still starting at week 1, and we'll be working through. So we are probably 2-3 weeks behind, but the way this program works is it's far more important that even though we're just starting now, that we start at the beginning rather than jumping into week 3 or 4 or 5. So we're not missing out, and the most important thing is exposing the players to right at the beginning and letting them follow suit and not jump any stages. The frequency of the athletic development sessions or the home workout sessions will be twice a week, and then the duration will be somewhere between 45 to 60 minutes depending on the player. And then the last part will be each phase or each 2 weeks of the phase, we're going to add in a new phase challenge. So the first one will be the wall squat, and we'll have description and explanation on them as well. The format of the session will be an 8-minute mobility session with 4 activities. Then you'll be going into a 12-minute speed session with another 4 activities. You'll be going into a 20 to 30-minute strength session with 4 activities, and then you'd perform that 2 to 3 circuits of it, and then we go into a 5 to 10 minute cool down. Okay, so that's the national program, and then what we'll be doing off of that and kind of where we're kind of putting our slant, as Johnny said earlier on, so the Kildare GAA Maximise this National Be Ready program is, what we're going to be providing is a fortnightly webinar where we're going to discuss the published program that went out nationally and kind of make sure that all the coaches understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. And this will probably become even more important when we're back on the pitch and you're trying to balance games, training, skills, implementing parts of the session which you want, and then also kind of saying, where do I have room for athletic development? So this is probably where we're going to try maintain this throughout the season. It might get pushed out to maybe 3 or 4 weeks, but we are going to continue a regular contact with you. What we'll be doing in each of them is we'll be explaining the programs. We'll be going, okay, in this phase in speed, we're going on to X, Y, and Z. The reason we're doing it is X, Y, and Z. We want you to focus on this area. We'll highlight areas of focus. So that could be technical skills, physical skills. When we get back on the pitch, we could be giving you insight into tactical exposures or anything like that. At the moment, we're going to be providing skill and conditioning sessions. So alongside the national programs, what they're offering out, we're kind of providing a more thorough, more in-depth training program for hurling and football that'll generally delivered at the moment. It can be performed as a partner session, and then if things open up that bit further, we can expand them as well. So we'll be moving, or we'll be kind of programming to what's coming ahead of us in relation to COVID regulations as well. And then I suppose the last one is that we'll have a brief coach education input. So as we get into the flow of this, into webinar 3, 4, 5, we'll have guest coaches coming in and talking about different aspects. So we already have, like, Mark Fitzharris wants to come in and talk about a program he's running on psychology, and we have a small bit of performance analysis coming up as well. But they'll all still be very short nuggets that you can implement practically straight away. So it's kind of like a regular check-in on Coach Ed, being influenced by a very structured practical program that we're going to maintain throughout the season, and kind of give you direction and allow you question and give feedback as well about where you'd like us to bring it next, and throughout the season, to support your return to play and to developing the players as well. And to add, Johnny or John?
No, I think, Paul, you've covered a lot of it. I think the big thing for coaches here is, as you say, it's getting this back. And I know, talking to a lot of coaches, they're sort of itching to be doing something, but I'm not really sure what we should be doing. And there might be a little fear as well on online, the physical activity and stuff like that. So it's a very clear plan, and you will get more confidence, I suppose, as you get used to using it. And every fortnight, when we come back on, there'll be things to ask, and pick our brains, and we can learn. We can all learn as we go along as well. So I think that's important to state as well.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so the next thing then, what we'll be providing over the next 5-6 weeks, or what's kind of available for you to opt into or to get involved in if you choose. So this evening, 24th of March, we're on launching the program and giving you activity phase 1. To kick things off, and we're going to see how this goes and kind of the uptake, and if required, we're going to provide an athletic development coaches practical workshop Friday night coming. So that'll be any of the coaches that are in on this program. Myself and Mick Gillick, one of the other GPOs and athletic development coaches, we're going to run a live session for the coaches, and kind of nearly give you examples or run through the program as is, and let you ask questions about why are you doing that, what's going on, how do you change that, and also give you a few little insights if you are going to run a team-based session with your team. This is a model of doing it, and this is some of the questions or some of the issues that you may come up with, and some little tips and things that we can go on from there. Then on the Tuesday, the 30th, you're going to have the national webinar. So that's technical coaching for hurling, camogie, and football. Just off the top of my head, I know Johnny's on, and Niall Corcoran from Galway, Dublin, GP up in Kilmacud's on, and I think 2 of the girls are on for camogie and ladies football as well. So it's covering all bases, and it's just kind of talking about the different aspects of technical coaching and how we can, particularly at the moment in lockdown, how do we kind of address and focus on the technical side of the game and coach the players through it. Again, I suppose we'll be robbing a lot of Johnny's ideas, and he was robbing a lot of our ideas, how it's implemented over in our program as well. So you'll probably find that it'll make a lot of sense if you log on to that one and you see how our program represents or replicates a lot of what Johnny's talking about as well. Then the following week we'll be into webinar 2, so we'll be publishing activity phase 2, and so on. You can see, so every fortnight we're going to be publishing the new one. We'll run through the program and explain what's going on. Okay, then, so what we'll be recommending, or what we're kind of advising for you to offer out to the players or direct the players to do, will be either a 3-day option or a 4-day option. So on the 3-day option, we were probably saying on both models, we're trying to give them a day off as much as possible. So the 3-day option, they do a home workout athletic development session on the Tuesday and Thursday, and then they do their skills conditioning session at the weekend. I suppose the way we made sure that the skills session was at the weekend, and the players get to choose whether it's a Saturday or Sunday, to make sure that it's easier to get access to parks and to light and doing it during the day and stuff like that. And then the one we'd probably be leaning a little bit heavier to would be the 4-day session. So that's a session on a Monday, a home workout on a Monday and Friday, and then their skills conditioning session on a Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. Again, this is very optional. You're going to have to judge your players by what their interest is and what you think that they want to apply themselves to. So none of these are set in stone that, if I opt for the day 3 model, I have to do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a case of this is just a kind of a recommended schedule, and you get to alter it or edit it to whatever way suits you. Probably the key thing that we'd be recommending is you try leave a day off between sessions as much as possible, to get the full benefit of the session. So only part of the job is applying the stress of the workout or of the skills conditioning session. The second part, and probably the most important part, is they get allowed time to recover from the session. Okay, so if we just said, grand, we have to do 3 days in a row, we'll just do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and give them the rest of the week off, they're probably not getting the full benefit of the time they committed to the program. So it's kind of just getting this day on, day off kind of model and getting that implemented as soon as possible will allow them get the full physical benefit of the program.
Just as well, Paul, on that, I suppose we mentioned at the start where maybe coaches and between webinars and things like that, maybe we're getting a bit fatigued, and sometimes we can feel maybe, the players might be too. But we've run a program for the under 17s and the under 20s, and the buy-in is massive from the players, and we have big numbers at that age because we're sort of using it as a trial for whenever we can get back on the field. But so the numbers are big. But the one thing, talking to parents and maybe some of the coaches would have felt that it's given the lads a bit of focus. It's given them something to talk about. But they might be doing online, or they might buddy up and to get out, and there's a little bit more structure around rather than just going down to the field for a kick round. So, don't maybe underestimate the value of what the young lads are really, really looking forward to getting out and getting something done. And sometimes, as I say, we might feel that even though we're getting tired, they're just chomping at the bit to get going. So I think it is important. I know some of you might be back already doing stuff, and you probably see that firsthand.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I just double down on it. I think Johnny, he's spot on. Just if you're dealing with some of the younger ages, I know this is going from 13 to 18, but as Johnny says, some of them are chomping the bit to get back. Just stress Paul's point that the rest is hugely important, that they don't decide to jump in extra sessions and double them up and start doing stuff every day. So if you are delivering this to your players, just emphasize the fact, especially if they're young and maybe coming to this for the first time, that the rest is absolutely hugely important and beneficial to them. So
yeah, I second that. Okay, so we've given you the coaches program, we've given you the players program, and now finally we have what it all looks like for you and what you're trying to manage then over the next 5 weeks or so. So all of a sudden you've a fairly jam-packed season ahead of you. And again, all we're saying is, look, this is the way it can look. This is the way you can build it out fairly quickly, and it gives a bit of structure and insight for the players of what's coming up and what's going ahead. And probably just the biggest thing for you going forward, and what we'd encourage, if any coach takes this program and runs with it and kind of follows a little bit of our guidance and puts their own little bit of structure on it and their own little independence on it, the benefit the players are going to get out of it. Even if you never tell the players how to do any exercise, how to do a squat or lunge, you don't get involved in that side of the house, but you kind of give a structure of, you're doing this session this time, this is what we're recommending. If you can't do it, let me know why you can't, and we'll try to figure it out and stuff. And that little bit of coach support and guidance and making it be important for these players is going to have a huge impact. So what I probably encourage you to do is, you're not set in stone on this program, and figure out how it fits for you, and figure out what key coach activities you want to get on. So we'll keep publishing on the 7th of April I'll come back and I'll give you the next 6 weeks of the program and so on. So you'll always know what's going ahead with us. And then you can figure out, oh no, I want to go to that one. I've no interest in that one. And kind of you're building out your side of the house, and then the players can follow the program that you're providing or programming as well for them.
Paul, a couple of questions in here. Ashlyn, if you're already doing online sessions with a team, should we stop doing those sessions?
I suppose, and this is probably where, because we're programming or discussing to such a big group this evening, there'd be no broad answers like that. But it'd be, first of all, I'd be asking, okay, how long are you on the program? What's the age group? Who's delivering the program? What's the ability and stuff like that? So all of these have to be factored in. By no means am I saying this is the only program to follow. This is the best program in the world. Every coach is, particularly in S&C, is going to have their own. There's things I'd change in this program straight away, but like the key thing and why I like it so much is that there's a commitment to follow the program throughout the season and give the coaches who have an extremely strong coaching eye and are able to deliver. They're able to identify, okay, head, hands, feet, and that can be applied through a squat or a lunge or a strike or whatever it is, but they mightn't have the capacity or the knowledge to be able to actually put it all in the order that it should flow and periodized throughout the season, and that's what this program is given. So it's not it's dependent on how long they're on the program, what they're doing, and are they following a structured program, or where do they see the program going forward themselves. The fact that we're all still in lockdown, it's early in the season, there'll be no harm stopping and resetting and going on this program either. I wouldn't see any issue with that. Any other questions?
Just one more from Sean Bennett in Ballina. Is there a standard letter or template devised that we as the coaches could send out to the parents to give them an appreciation of what we're doing and the benefits, etc., to encourage more participation?
No, but it definitely is. We can definitely draw up something on that in our discussions or our correspondence with you. We can put something kind of a one-sheeter template on the benefits of the Be Ready program and Kildare's Maximise the Be Ready program. That'll be handy enough to do. And I suppose the big one for us is that at national level, again, it's a very thorough program at that level, that they are emailing everyone when any webinars are coming up or the new content has gone live or any of that aspect. So they've a very strong correspondence on that side of the house as well. So I think if we can get more players, as many registered and as many coaches registered onto our system and the national system, they'll be plagued enough with good content to follow. But yeah, I think we can do up kind of similar to what we did with the even just the flyer or the Instagram poster that we did and stuff like that. We can do something a bit jazzy like that with some of the pros of the program and what we're looking.
We'll email it out to all the coaches then, if it's a benefit to them. Good stuff. Thanks for that, Sean.
Okay.
All right. That's it.
So that's the schedule. Okay, so then we're on to the implementation, the actual practical program. Okay, so here's an example of the day one of the athletic development program. So as I was explaining earlier, we have our stability, mobility, our speed, our strength and power, and our cool down phase. Now, what I've done with this is, so these are all on the national website, and they're linked to, there's a full hour-long video of this full session. Now, from experience, and we're programming for the minors and 20s and stuff like that, we took the liberty of cutting up the session to be linked to every exercise. So what we'd find is that the players know a lot of these exercises, or they get to know them very quickly, and we're continually trying to make it as fluid and as interactive as possible. So if I give out this program, I want the players to be like, okay, I understand what breathing control is, do that. And they keep just bouncing down through the exercises until they might come to something and they'd be like, geez, I'm not sure what the B march is again. I'm not sure about what that is. So, and then they'll click on the hyperlink of the video, which is just the actual title of the exercise, B march. and it'll come up with the video of the session that was delivered by the Setanta College for this program. And they get their 2-minute clip of the B March, what are the key teaching points they're looking for, and then they'll get to implement it straight away. So in the program that we send out to you, it will be hyperlinked. The national program that you'll get off the national website won't be hyperlinked, but we're going to be hyperlinking all programs going forward from now on. So you'll have a very interactive, practical program to do. So the way we delivered it to our county minors and 20s and so on is they get them in a PDF on WhatsApp. You download you click on the link of the PDF, and then it comes up, fills up the screen, and you just follow the program off your phone. And if you get stuck anywhere, you just click on the title of the exercise, and it'll bring you to YouTube, to that exercise, to that video. Then you just go back straight into your PDF again, and you keep following the program on again. Now, if you wanted to do it as the coach and you wanted to deliver the session yourself, again, it'd be dependent on, there's various ways you could do it. You could be the model yourself if you're comfortable with the exercises. You could share your screen like I am here now and actually press play on the video on the national program and let the players follow it. And you might have a second screen going where you can see that the players are doing it and give feedback and guidance and encouragement. So there's a multiple variation of ways to follow the program. The way the program is probably set up, it's an individual-led program, so the program is designed for the players to follow it themselves. But again, we'd find that there's a huge impact in the players being linked in together. Or the one that we're getting huge benefit out of at the minor level is, we call them partner sessions. So we encourage the lads to get into small pods, generally to get into the pods of their own club mates. But they do like a session of, there could be 2 of them in a session, there could be 6 of them in a session. But you generally find that if I get stuck on the T stance, I'd be like, am I doing this right, lads? And I kind of get this feedback, and a bit of crack and chat starts. And then every week with the minors, one of them gets designated as the DJ and stuff like that. Like, so there's a bit of crack goes on, and a bit of team bonding goes on as well. So there's all different variations of how we can run this. And again, this is what will probably come up on our Friday session of a few of these tips and discussion points going forward. That's the same program again. I wasn't sure how this one would read for you, so I think we actually saw it, happy enough. So that's just the speed, 12 minutes of speed. These are all speed drills, and then we've gone into our 4 exercises, and we'd be doing a circuit of them. So we'd go exercise 1, T stance, exercise 2, push up, all the way down to exercise 4, take breaks as required, and then we go back up to the top and start again and flow through 2 to 3 rounds. Again, if we had a very competent minor, I'd have no problem pushing it out to 4 rounds, even 5 rounds if they felt comfortable at it. Yeah, so that's the main part here. And then I suppose just from a description, from my point, so I'm always looking for program and structure and making sure that things look well and that they make sense and that they're balanced. And what you'd have here is you have a very balanced program. So you have a hip dominant leg exercise, followed by a horizontal push exercise, followed by a knee dominant leg exercise, followed by a core exercise. So I can guarantee if you have any question marks or anything over that, whether is it strength and conditioning improved or anything like that, the people who designed this program are top quality S&C coaches. They're lecturers down in the Setanta College, and they really know their stuff. So I'd have no worries about committing to the program, and the programming side of it is really good. So here's a video of what you'd get if we clicked on the, let's say we didn't know what the opposite side crawl was. So this would have been one of our warm-up exercise activities. Hopefully it plays for you. Just let us know if it plays, lads.
Yeah.
Yes, playing there, yeah.
Okay, so what you have is you have the coach discussing the model of what's going on, and she's coaching him through it. So this is what you'll see in this session. Okay, so that's what we'd have there. So when I'm following the program, so I'd follow a program similar to this, like this, based off PDF. I'd be there bouncing through the exercises. I'm like, what's she mean by opposite side crawl? I click on it, I get a visual. She's giving me the key teaching points. I don't have to hang around for the full length of the video if I'm happy that I got the image and what I wanted, and off I go again, start training again. And that's what I'd be encouraging you to do, or the players to do when they're doing the session. Okay, so any questions before we roll on to the skills phase? If so, if not, we'll keep going. I think we're making good time.
Feel free to open up your mic, guys. If you don't want to type, just put your hand up and feel free to open the mic and have a chat. Nothing there at the moment, anyway, Paul.
Cool. Okay, so then the next part, the second phase, the yellow boxes of the program, okay, is our skills conditioning program. I know this is very small. I'll flick on to the next slide in a minute, but this will be what the players will get again. This will be a PDF that will fill up the phone screen. And this is the activity phase 1. This is actually the football session. So what we've programmed here is 2 8-minute activities, followed by a 5-minute recovery activity, a lower intensity activity. And then we have another 2 to 3 8-minute activities. Depending on the ability of the player, we'd be probably starting week 1, we'd be saying pick 2 of the last 3, and then as they get up through the weeks, we probably push it out to the all exercises on the page. You can't see that, so I'm just going to flick onto the next page, which is just a zoom in of it. So what we have here are what's laid out in the session or in this template is you have your duration, so how long the activity should take place for. The activity itself, so just the name of it, that's a hyperlink again. So that's going to click on and you'll get to see a video of us performing an activity, the game, whatever it is. The reps, so we've kind of based the football off the expectation of that if 2 lads are performing this exercise or this program, they'll have a ball each. Now, it doesn't have to be a O'Neill size 5 football or whatever they use as their match day ball. It can be a soccer ball, whatever they have at hand. We're just encouraging them just to get kicking or get moving again as part of the program. And very similarly with hurling, if they have to go and use a tennis ball, so be it. Like, it's a start point, and then we think that as they get into the program, they'll be more than happy to click onto one of the providers and buy their couple of slitters or their football or whatever will be needed as we progress through the program. The next one then will give you a description of what the recovery should be. And the sets will be the number of of rounds of the program you go. So to fill the square, so the player runs out, picks the ball, solos the 30 meters or 25 meters or so, drops the ball, jogs back. So there's quite a conditioning element to it. There's a 30-meter run and a return and a run and a return. So there's 120 meters and you're doing it 4 rounds. So there's actually 480 meters, half a kilometer in that activity. So it's quite taxing. And then where we have instructions and notes, we're just given we're not re-describing the exercise. Okay, so we think that the video and the setup diagram will give you the description of what you need to do. So what we've actually done with the coaching notes is we've kind of given them feedback of what they should be concentrating on or what we're trying to get out of the activity. So practice to pick up using both feet, crouch low and pull ball into chest, take steps between each play. So it's kind of more coach feedback as opposed to pick ball at cone A and run to cone B, because we think that the diagram and stuff is doing that already. And again, that just follows suit right down through the program. What we probably encourage the players to do is that they nearly set up the full session before they start, so not kind of setting up between each exercise, so you get a good flow to the program if you set up the entire session. And I suppose this is probably where we're encouraging a small bit more coach feedback or interaction on your part, that again, this program is being offered out to under 13 camogie players, ladies footballers, right through to under 19 players nearly taking a step into senior hurling and football. So it's impossible to program them all the same reps and sets and stuff like that. So, and even the distance to be covered. So we'd be probably allowing you or be encouraging you to take liberty in kind of pitching it at the level that you think is most relevant to your players. And just if you send it out, this program to a PDF, just kind of say points of note for our program. Okay.
Yeah, just a question. Oh yeah, go ahead, John.
Sorry, Paul. No, I just wanted to double down on that last point. As it's quite, look, it's maybe the downside of a generic program like this, but if you're giving it to your players, you know the players that you have we do want them to be challenged, but you want to make sure that they can perform the skill. So an under 13 trying to strike even in hurling terms, trying to strike a ball over distance won't have the same distance as a under 18. So it is hugely important that if you do look at the exercises, like the players will have this on their phone, that they can click on the exercise and see it themselves. But if there's distances written down, as Paul said, just make sure that it does come with some sort of a note. As I said, your players, the ability that they may have. There could be a little tweak that you might want to add to it to make sure that they can do it. So we do want them to be challenged and challenge themselves. That's how you get better. But they have to be able to perform the skill as well. So whatever exercise that they're following, just feel free to put a little a tweak on it yourselves, especially in terms of distances that they can do, just to make sure that they can do it and still be challenged.
Yeah, just a question here from Adrian. Just looking for a bit of clarity. Will these be available for the coaches to give out to the teams, as in the mobile phone use, etc.?
Yeah. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to encourage you all to register on the national program, because we can't be providing too much content and kind of piggybacking, and we still need you to register that direction. We think you're going to get a good bit of content out of that side of the program as well. And even if you don't engage in it, register first, because we're actually going to use that email list of registered coaches in Kildare, and we're going to pull that list from the national program too as our email list going forward. So then from there, you're going to get my PDF version of the athletic development program with all the hyperlinks that you can send out to the players as a WhatsApp, and the pitch-based sessions. You'll get that on your email. You can send that out to the players as a WhatsApp as well. So that's you will have full access to the program once you register. I'll explain it at the end, but we're going to have a timeline, kind of register by this date, and I'll register by tomorrow evening, and I'll get the programs out. I'm going to hit send at 4 o'clock tomorrow evening.
Okay, that's perfect. That's it. Yeah, we can go ahead.
Cool. Okay, so again, very like our, I just wanted to give you an insight into what it is, or what you're going to see when you click on an exercise. So we just have one of hurling and one of football. So this is one of the games we have, hurling quick scan, find your pass. So I'm striking a ball low to John, first touch, he's to go around the pole, and then I'm moving off somewhere else where John has to get around the corner and scan and look for me and figure out where I am, set himself and deliver a ball to hand. Okay, so you can see I'm kind of moving and making them think, or making them kind of get around the corner. So this will be, the boys will click on the link, they'll see quick scan, find your pass, they'll be like, what's that game? They click the link, they're like, oh yeah, that's the game there, I know what to do. And then when they're down on the pitch and they're setting up before they start, they'll see that I need to put out 2 cones 20, 25 meters apart, whatever we described. And then the football one, we picked it for this, very similar. This one is a kicking and a good element of conditioning in this game. So we have approximately a 30 by 30 meter square, and we're just kicking the ball, and the player, we're kicking in front of the player, and then he's running onto the ball. So we're not hitting the man directly, we're trying to put the ball in front of him, and he's moving on to it. And we do this, so we do a full lap of kicking the ball with our left foot, and then we'd take our break, and the break and all is prescribed, and then we go the other direction and we kick the ball with our right foot. So all of these things, all these prescriptions or these directions are built into the program as well. And again, so that example there of a 30 by 30 or 40 by 40 meter square, if we've the under 13s and you think actually they're only capable of a 20 by 20, that sound as well, you'd run it off that. And then you might feel, oh, their technical skill, they're only able to kick at 20 meters, but actually I want them to still do the same amount of running, so you can add in an extra rep or an extra set or whatever you want as well. So again, this is entirely up to yourself. I kind of get a feel of it, let it run. Week 1, make the alterations to the distance that you think they're capable of, and then nearly get feedback off the players. How did you find the session? And then you can add or take away reps and sets and stuff like that. Okay, so the next one, we probably have to put our hand up straight away and say that our pitch session is a partner session. Okay, so we've programmed this based off the capability that the player has access to one other partner, or one other partner is perfect. If you had 3, that will work as well, but the ideal situation, it's a 2-man or 2-person session. How we're getting around this, or how we're recommending this, is, and we've had good chats over this, and we've got advice and everything, so we're not breaking any rules or anything like this. We're basing off the COVID-19 current guidelines. So we'd be chatting to the players in our system, and we explain to them, these are the guideline rules at the moment with the COVID-19. So people are permitted to exercise within 5K of their home, and people may exercise with someone from one other household in an outdoor setting when taking exercise. So what we're saying in this category is that if you're getting involved in this program, you're happy to kind of box yourself off and kind of follow this direction, that you're not mixing and matching and going with someone new every week, and it's kind of like, oh, who's going to the park today, lads? Yeah, I'll tag along. We're encouraging you that if you are implementing this program, that you kind of give this guidelines and give this information to the parents as well, that we're nearly allocating each other a training partner, and preferably a training partner that's already in your training, in your bubble. So it'd be someone that you're palling around with already, or someone that's close to the family, or someone that's already linked to you. And then you'd follow these fairly strict guidelines as well. So only train with the other person, with that one other person. Only train in permitted locations. So the GA fields are closed at the moment, so we're not encouraging you to be going in there. Use parks or green spaces. And then all just simple things like, don't be traveling in a car together if you don't live together. Even be conscious about when you're getting kitted out or whatever, that you're not on top of each other and stuff like that. And don't be sharing water bottles, and don't be following on and saying, yeah, sure, I'll call over to your house and we'll do the gym program together. So we are asking to be extremely COVID responsible on this. And if it doesn't suit the player, that's fine. There's the national program that runs alongside this program, that's an individual session as well, that you'll have access to straight away from the national website, and I'll share that as well. So this is kind of an add-on if it suits. Okay, the last one, we're nearly there, lads. The last one, cardio circuit, I'm not a fan. Okay, so as part of the national program, they also provided a cardio circuit that could be implemented alongside or instead of the conditioning session, so the skills conditioning session. And for multiple reasons, I wouldn't be really encouraging it. I nearly wouldn't even share this with the players if possible. I'd probably only show it to the players if they need it. So if they, let's say they're a close contact and they're in isolation or something like that. And the reason for it would be that I wouldn't be keen on it is we're trying to develop, like the start point, we're focusing on good movement abilities, and we're focusing on developing muscular strength, and we're focusing on all being underpinned by mobility, stability, and the likes of that. And these cardio circuit exercises, they just throw all that out the window. Okay, so what we be talking about is kind of controlled, slow reps, watching your technique, only do as many reps as you feel comfortable, take rest as required. And then to get the benefit out of this cardio workout session, it's kind of like throw all that to the wind and just jump around as mad as you can, and work up as good a sweat as you can. So I'd prefer if the player wasn't able to get out of the house because of whatever reason, I prefer they actually did an additional strength session or an athletic development session as opposed to the cardio session. Now, as all things, and I'd be the first one to hold my hands up, there's multiple ways to skin a cat, and I'm not saying under the right situations and under the right guidance, these sessions can be fine. But the fact that we're kind of going individual based, and we're actually trying to lay that mental approach, or that kind of very responsible approach about how we apply ourselves to athletic development going forward, I think we're giving a mixed message if we say this is the way you do your exercise, and then a day later we're kind of throwing that all out the door, and we're saying do as many reps as you can as quick as you can. And then even some of the exercises are extremely technical that even I find difficult to maintain proper technique on, the likes of burpees and stuff like that. Like, they just end up being bananas, to be honest. So again, if you all I'm giving here is a small bit of advice, and you can take it whatever way you want going forward. It's not a rule that if you're doing this program you can't do the cardio circuit session. It's probably just a bit of advice. Okay, last thing, lads, we're done. This is the last slide. So key information and dates coming up. Okay, so the first thing I'd encourage everyone on this presentation tonight to do is register as a coach on the Be Ready to Play website. So on this link, you'll get it straight away. So literally, if you type in GAB Ready Be Ready, you're going to get it straight away. So GAB Ready, Google that, and it's going to bring you straight to the GA Learning website, and it's part of the portal there. Everyone who's on tonight, you're going to get this presentation straight away after we get off the call. So you'll have a link to this as well. And then the other dates coming up, Friday night, myself and Mick Gillick, we're going to run a coaches athletic development session. So we're going to run you through week 1 and 2 of the athletic development program, day 1 and day 2. And we'll talk about practical application, what you should be looking out for if you're doing a practical session with the players yourself, and some guidelines, and any questions you have, we'll be able to answer on that. Tomorrow evening at 4 o'clock, I'm going to send out the PDF sessions. So I'll send out all content that we've discussed there this evening. So the skill-based sessions, the athletic development hyperlink sessions. And then Tuesday the 30th, you're on with Johnny on the technical coaching session on the national website. And I suppose the big one for us as well is all our GDAs and GPOs are well versed in this, and they are more than willing to support you on particularly the skill-based pitch sessions. So if you're unsure, let's say you're with the under 15s and you're like, Jesus, I know Paul said change the reps and sets or the distance, but I'm not sure what to do. What we'd be really encouraging to do straight away is your first point of call is contact your GPO GDA and say, look, I'm keen to follow this Be Ready program. I'm looking at the skill session. Can you give me a bit of advice? And we'll have a 10-minute chat, and the lads will be more than happy to direct you. And it's going to create a lot of conversation and a lot of support going forward for the year as well. It'll be a good point to call. What we'd find with our GDA GPO visits is when we've something practical and structured to talk about, they're very strong visits. When it's kind of a how are you getting on, and there's no structure to the conversation, sometimes we don't get the full capacity or full benefit out of the program. So we think that this program will give us a lot of that structure going forward as well. So and then if you're unsure who it is, or you don't want to link in with them, or you're not happy, you're more than welcome to contact me directly either. Okay, and that's just a lovely poster of Johnny and the lads for Tuesday night. So. Okay, that's me. We did it in 20:55, so we kept it under the hour. So more than happy to take any questions now. And yeah.
Any questions, guys? You feel free to open up your mic and ask. There's no problem.
So it's Mark McCarville here. I registered now on the portal. So the next step then is just to wait for you to send out the stuff tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, I'll have that out to you by 4 o'clock tomorrow evening.
Great. Thanks for that. It was very clear, very easy to understand.
Great. Thank you very much, Mark.
Ashlyn has her hand up there. If he wants to come on there and you can ask.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, for your present or for your workshop on Friday, are you going to send out a link, or do we have to register somewhere for that?
I'll send out a link to everyone that's registered for this webinar. Okay. So everyone's on this webinar will get the link. Yeah.
Thank you.
And the other registration, lads, that's on the GAA website itself, is it?
Yeah. So if you Google GAB Ready program, if you Google that, it's going to bring you to the GA Learning portal, and then from there, then it's fairly step by step. You'll be able to follow it. So the minute you find it, you're going to find a box with the GAB Ready. I'll do it here just to explain what's going on. I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, you see my screen, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's GAB Ready. Okay, so you click in GAB Ready, it brings you to the program. You have live webinars and the launch of the webinar, how to get involved. So you have a registration guide. And then the final one is program streams. Click on the program that's most suited to you. So youth, adult, or advanced. So we be clicking on the youth.
Okay.
And then from there, then it'll give you enroll, and then you're going to have to, if you're not registered on the GA Learning website, you're going to have to just register on that and then enroll. And then from there, then so I'll say log in. I'll just give you a quick rundown of what the website looks like. So there's the Be Ready. So this is the youth program. So straight away you have this is Annie McCarra. She's the SSC coach who programmed the youth section. And so she talks about what's going on and the different where we are on it. And you have your block 1 and block 2. So we'll be starting on block 1. That's what I'll be sharing with you tomorrow evening. And then from there, then you're going to have your videos from block 1. So these are the full videos. So there's your introduction, your athletic development. Now, I suppose the key thing here, not that I discourage you from using this, what we found is probably the limitation of these first round of activities is they videoed the full session for the hour. And I'd find that just not as practical to use. So it's great in theory, and then you're like, Jesus, I got through 40 minutes of the session and now I'm stuck on an exercise. How do I get to that exercise? And you have to go scrolling through the video. So that's why we went after the hyperlink, kind of cutting up the video. But I would actually encourage any of the coaches who are unsure or would like to get a view of this. There's a lot of good coach education feedback that she gave in the full hour video. So you probably wouldn't use it as a practical implementation, like give it to a player and say, off you go now. But you'd take an awful lot from a coach, kind of, if they were looking for insight and info into it. So I wouldn't discourage you from using it. It's just more of a case of actually practical implementation with a team or with a player will be a little bit more challenging. And then here is the content. So the download. So you click on the download contents. And that gives you the timetable, week 1 athletic development sessions, your circuit session, your running session. So that's all there. And you can just download the entire folder and that'll come down for you as well. So so we're completely just replicating that program. The only additions that we've built is that we're changing up the skill session, and we're also just giving you a more user-friendly version of the athletic development session. And then you can flow on to block 2, and it's the same idea. By block 2, they've cut down the sessions to 15 minutes, so the athletic development sessions. So they've already started getting far more to the point and far more directive on the session. So we're hoping by week 5, 6, maybe week 7, 8, they'll be doing the cutting for us, and they'll already be just giving us hyperlink sessions. But that's still to be seen. So we don't want that to get in the way until it gets fixed. So that's why we've done what we've done so far.
Yeah, and I think, Paul, and I know you said already, is, when you see this first, you might be a little bit unsure of it. It's only by getting it when you get to go through it, see it yourself. It is very practical and very user friendly. And like Paul said, please don't be afraid to pick up the phone or drop us an email. Hopefully a lot of you will work with your GPOs and GDAs in the club, and as I say, we're here to help you as best we can and make this a good experience for both yourselves and the players. And I think that's really important. This can be a great program to get back into, engaging with the players. And I'm sure there's different things you might want to, when you do get interacting with them, there might be different things like, team bond and stuff. There could be a night quiz, or there's so many things when you do get them back and having a bit of fun with them, even though we prefer to be down in the field, but we have to make do with online for the moment. But there is loads of different stuff you can be doing that will be really important, particularly now when they're craving for something, a bit of structure in their world. So a lot of good stuff there.
So this is what we'll be getting, guys, is the hyperlink session, and we'll have our 2 activities there, and we'll be getting similar with the pitch session. So the pitch sessions are here as well, and we'll have our pitch session 1 and 2 and stuff like that. So that's what we'll be getting. Okay.
Lovely. Thanks a million for that.
Okay. No more questions. Everyone happy enough?
Yeah, all good.
Cool. Right. So, and again, the whole thing in this, guys, is we really want to emphasize that you just pick and choose and dip in where you find the need, like, do you know, that kind of way. So if you're not there yet, or you're like, oh, I'm probably not going to run this as a team-based session, or I'm just going to be the one to direct the players where they need to go, and I'm going to look after their schedule and stuff like that, and you don't really want to be getting a run through off me and Mick about how you do a squat and what you should be looking out for and stuff like that, there's no worries. Like, we won't be like, oh geez, we lost so many on Friday night, like, do you know, that kind of way. We're expecting that it'll be a smaller group and we'll get to have more of a chat and stuff like that. So this is very much about what you need to implement the program for you, as opposed to, oh, I have to do all these things to be kept along on this program or this journey. Okay, so we're here to help it and make it as easy for you going forward. All right.
Good stuff.
Good night, lads.
Thank you.
That's it, lads.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Ryan Mernan, does he have a...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, lads.